What if the reason you haven't hit your biggest financial goals has, absolutely nothing to do with your talent or your education or even your luck?
Right, which is completely backwards to how we usually think about it.
Exactly. I mean, we often look at people who have built this incredible wealth or achieved massive professional success, and we just assume, well, they were handed a winning lottery ticket at birth, right?
Yeah, they just got lucky.
Right. And so we treat our own dreams like these, I don't know, these hazy castles in the sky,
Yeah.
just crossing our fingers and hoping the universe eventually rewards us.
Because it completely lets us off the hook.
Oh.
I mean, if success is just random luck, well, you don't have to put in the grueling work of engineering it. But the reality is that the architecture of achievement is just as structured and just as calculated as building a 100-story skyscraper.
You need blueprints. You need raw materials.
Exactly. You need a precise sequence of actions. And that's what today's deep dive is all about. It's this exclusive audio masterclass unpacking the timeless, step-by-step psychological sequence outlined in Napoleon Hill's classic, Think and Grow Rich.
Which is such a legendary source.
It really is. And the material proves that wealth and success are, well, they're rarely coincidences. They are the result of specific, highly learnable traits.
So by the end of this deep dive, you are going to understand the exact mechanics of transforming a vague floating wish into a totally concrete reality.
From the very first internal spark all the way to executing complex plans with a whole team.
Right. But we have to start at the absolute foundation. A lot of people have wishes. They want to be rich or, they want a better job.
Sure.
But chasing after just any old dream floating in some indeterminate future that basically guarantees failure, you have to upgrade that wish into what the book calls a burning desire.
Yeah, because a wish is passive. A burning desire it's an obsession. It's a state of mind where the absolute necessity of achieving your aim completely overrides the friction of reality. And let's be honest, reality provides a lot of friction.
Oh, an incredible amount.
Like, take Thomas Edison. He went through 10,000 failed experiments before inventing the practical electric light bulb. 10,000!
Which is just, I can't even fathom that level of failure.
Right. If Edison merely had a wish to invent a light bulb, the psychological toll of the first 100 failures would have just crushed him.
Absolutely.
But his burning desire was the anchor. It allowed him to endure the failure long enough to actually find the solution.
Another phenomenal historical example of this from the text is Fannie Hurst.
Oh, yeah. Her story is wild.
It really is. She was a writer trying to break into the industry, and she suffered through 36 outright rejections. We aren't talking about, mild critiques here.
No.
You're talking about publishers literally slamming the door in her face 36 times. I mean, most people quit after one or two rejections, right?
Definitely. I know, I probably would.
Same. But her burning desire forced her to keep submitting her work until a newspaper finally published a single short story. And that one publication launched her entire career as a highly successful novelist and playwright.
Because her internal drive was literally stronger than the repeated, crushing frustration of external rejection.
Right.
And this is but a burning desire isn't just about wanting something badly and suffering through the pain.
Right. It's not just masochism.
Exactly. It must be paired with highly detailed planning. Ambition without precision is really just chaotic energy.
A GPS analogy really helps visualize this, just to add some clarity here.
Okay, let's hear it.
If you get into your car and you type somewhere nice into the GPS, the screen just sits there. It literally cannot route you.
Right. It needs an exact address.
Exactly. And the human brain operates the exact same way. You can't just say, oh, I want to get rich or I want to be successful.
It's too vague.
Way too vague. You have to define the exact amount of money or the specific metric of success. You have to define the exact timeline for when you'll achieve it. And perhaps most importantly, exactly what you are willing to invest or give up to get it.
Setting a goal is literally pointless if it lacks those specific coordinates.
Yeah.
And the practical action required, what he actually tells you to do, is to take that precise, detailed plan, right, the amount, the timeline, the required investment, and write it down on a piece of paper.
Okay.
Then you have to read it aloud twice a day, once in the morning when you wake up and once at night right before you go to bed.
Okay, so I have to play the skeptic for a second here, because this is where things can start sounding a bit mystical to people.
Fair enough.
Like, writing down a goal makes perfect sense for clarity, but reading a piece of paper to myself twice a day, Isn't that just kind of woo-woo manifestation?
I hear that all the time.
Like, I just whisper my desires to the universe, and it magically drops $1 million on my doorstep. I mean, believing you're going to succeed after getting your 36th rejection like Fannie Hurst requires an insane level of unwavering faith.
It does.
So how does reading a piece of paper actually engineer that kind of faith?
Look, on the surface, it absolutely sounds like mysticism. I totally get it. But let's strip away the woo-woo for a second and look at the actual neurological and psychological mechanisms at play here.
Okay, wait on me.
The concept in the text is called autosuggestion. It is not about the universe granting a wish. It is about actively conveying specific commands to your own subconscious mind.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah, and modern neuroscience actually supports this through something called the reticular activating system, or the RAS.
The RAS. Right?
Yeah, your brain is constantly bombarded with millions of bits of sensory data every single second. To keep you from going insane, the RAS filters out almost everything, only letting in information it deems important.
Oh, so by reading the goal twice a day, you're basically manually programming that filter.
Exactly.
It's like when you buy a new car and suddenly you see that exact model of car everywhere on the highway.
Yes, the classic example.
The cars were always there, obviously, but you just programmed your brain's filter to finally start noticing them.
That is the exact mechanism. Autosuggestion is the process of persuading yourself over and over that you can reach your goals. And by doing that, you're programming your subconscious filter to notice opportunities, resources, and pathways you would otherwise just completely ignore.
Wow.
If you impress these goals deeply and repeatedly enough, your subconscious just accepts them as facts. It then physically and psychologically steers your daily thoughts, your micro-decisions, and your actions toward making them a reality.
So faith, in this context, is not something you are magically born with.
Not at all.
It is entirely engineered.
Yes. Engineered faith, and Mahatma Gandhi is the ultimate paradigm of this in the book.
Oh, right, because the man defied the entire British colonial power.
Yes. Think about it. He didn't have massive wealth. He didn't have a military backing him up.
Nothing.
He marched to the sea to make salt, armed only with this absolute, unbending belief that he could unite and influence his countrymen.
He engineered that faith so deeply into his own mind and subsequently into the minds of others that it literally moved millions of people to overthrow an empire.
It's staggering when you frame it like that.
It really is.
Yeah.
So once your subconscious is primed with that level of unwavering faith, you need to actually execute the plan, right?
You need a toolkit.
Right. But the tools required for massive success probably aren't the ones you were taught to value in high school, which I love because this entire framework completely redefines the concept of knowledge and education.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we're taught that getting a university degree and memorizing a mountain of facts is the one true path to success.
Yeah, the traditional route.
But this material argues that traditional education is entirely secondary. What actually matters is acquired practical experience, utilizing your specific strengths, and having a relentless willingness to continuously learn.
Because general knowledge, no matter how vast in quantity, is of really little use in the accumulation of wealth unless it is organized and intelligently directed through a practical plan of action.
Right.
The worst enemy of success here is academic complacency.
Look at Henry Ford. The man didn't even have a high school diploma, yet he built a multi-million-dollar industrial empire that literally changed the world.
Changed everything.
And he didn't do it by stuffing his own head with every single granular fact about metallurgy or automotive engineering. He did it because he understood how to surround himself with a network of experts.
He was a master aggregator.
Yeah. He realized that knowing who to ask is infinitely more powerful than trying to know everything yourself.
And that distinction is so important because it frees you from the crippling burden of having to be the smartest person in the room about every single topic.
Oh, such a relief.
Right. You just need to know how to organize specialized knowledge. And the second part of this toolkit is what the author calls the workshop of the mind, which is the imagination.
The workshop, I like that.
He divides this into two distinct categories, which is super vital for understanding how wealth is actually created. There is creative imagination, and there is synthetic imagination.
Okay, to make this super clear, think of your brain like a giant box of Lego bricks.
Oh, I love Legos.
Right. So creative imagination is like inventing a brand new, never-before-seen shape of a Lego brick. It's pulling something entirely from the ether, which is what brilliant composers or visionary artists do.
Exactly.
But synthetic imagination, which is what the vast majority of successful business people rely on, is just taking the existing standard Lego bricks and clicking them together in a way no one else ever thought of.
You are using the old pieces to build a spaceship.
Precisely.
The Lego analogy perfectly captures the mechanics of synthetic imagination. You are rearranging old concepts, ideas, or plans into entirely new combinations. And the historical examples of this are massive. Consider Sony and the Walkman.
Oh, classic.
The developers at Sony didn't invent the fundamental concept of recording audio on magnetic tape. They used synthetic imagination to take a dictaphone, which was just a bulky playback device used primarily by journalists in office settings, and reimagined its application for the everyday consumer.
They shrunk the existing technology, changed the context, and totally revolutionized personal audio.
Exactly. They just rearranged the Lego bricks.
You know, Asa Candler and Coca-Cola is another mind-blowing example of synthetic imagination from the source material.
Oh, the Coca-Cola story is incredible.
Because Candler didn't even invent the recipe for Coke. He bought a recipe for a headache medication from a pharmacist for $3,000.
Just $3,000.
Right. The medicine was already an existing Lego brick. But Candler used his synthetic imagination to apply ingenious marketing strategies to it. He didn't just bottle it. He created the concept of the free coupon.
Wait, really? The free coupon?
Yeah, he handed out handwritten tickets for a free glass of Coca-Cola just to hook the public. He painted the logo on every barn and pharmacy he could find. He completely repositioned an existing product and built a global empire.
That is synthetic imagination at its peak. Imagination really is a muscle, and if you want it to be productive, you have to stimulate it, keep it active, and constantly feed it new combinations of ideas.
But imagination without a filter is really just a highly creative way to build a failure.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
So if you have the detailed plan, the engineered faith, and the imagination, what stops you from just driving the car off a cliff?
We definitely need guardrails.
Right. How do we stop ourselves from self-sabotaging? Because having a powerful engine doesn't matter if the driver is asleep at the wheel. And the biggest roadblock on this journey seems to be a staggering lack of self-awareness.
Oh, absolutely. Silent killers like vague goals, lacking ambition, and procrastination, they destroy way more dreams than actual external failure. The framework demands a brutally honest self-analysis to constructively identify these weaknesses before they derail your plan. The author recommends using a very specific checklist, asking yourself hard questions. Have I achieved my aim for this year? Was I courteous? Did I make decisions promptly and firmly? Have I been a procrastinator?
But, I mean, you can't just answer those questions yourself in a vacuum, can you? We're all inherently biased about our own behavior.
We love to let ourselves off the hook.
Exactly. So this subjective analysis has to be compared with an objective evaluation. You literally have to sit down with someone who knows you intimately, someone who absolutely will not sugarcoat it, and ask them to evaluate you against that exact same checklist.
It's the only way to get a true baseline of your flaws.
It sounds terrifying, but necessary.
Extremely necessary, and tied directly to that self-awareness is the concept of an emotional diet. We established earlier that the subconscious mind is essentially a massive hard drive,
Right.
recording every sensory stimulus, feeling, and thought you've ever had. But that hard drive does not filter for quality. It just stores whatever you feed it.
So if you feed your subconscious positive emotions, things like enthusiasm, love, and hope, it yields strength and enterprise.
Right.
But if you allow it to feast on negative sensations like rage, hate, pessimism, a desire for revenge, it breeds despondency. Your subconscious will literally mislead your daily actions based on the toxic diet you are feeding it.
Which means we have to actively police what we let into our minds, starting with the people we surround ourselves with.
Oh, the people are huge.
The text heavily emphasizes the vital necessity of cutting out what it calls doom-saying windbags.
Doom-saying windbags. I love that term.
It's so accurate. We all encounter these people daily. They're the ones who always have a cynical comment ready, who are perpetually disheartening, who constantly point out the 100 reasons why a new idea won't work.
Yeah, energy vampires, basically.
Exactly. You have to actively ignore their discouraging remarks. If you don't build a wall against them, they will poison your notional diet and, by extension, reprogram your subconscious for failure.
But blocking out those doom-saying windbags requires a seriously thick skin, which brings us to the defining trait that separates the truly successful from everyone else: steadfastness or determination.
It's the ultimate filter.
Yeah. The author analyzed over 25,000 life stories of people who failed to achieve professional success. And the single most common denominator among those 25,000 failures was a lack of determination.
It's astounding.
Conversely, when analyzing multimillionaires, a shared habit emerged across the board. They all made split-second decisions, and they stuck to them firmly.
Henry Ford is a prime example again here.
Okay, how so?
Well, he had the Model T, which was famously efficient, but not terribly beautiful. Everyone in his inner circle was advising him to change the model, to update the look, to appease the critics.
Right, give the people what they want.
Exactly. But he stubbornly kept it in production, completely ignoring the noise, and he raked in massive profits because of it. He trusted his original blueprint.
But wait, when does determination cross the line into just driving off a cliff? Like,
Yeah.
if everyone is telling you the bridge is out ahead and you say, no, I've made a split-second decision to keep driving, I am being determined, well, you are going to crash and burn.
Yeah, that's a really great point.
So how do you...
Exactly. And to build the right kind of determination, the material outlines a practical framework called the 4 Rules of Persistence.
Okay, let's hear them.
Rule 1, you must have a concrete goal driven by a burning desire.
The GPS address.
Exactly. Rule 2, you need a precise, continuous plan to support it. Rule 3, you have to build an absolute immunity to negative and disheartening opinions.
Build that wall against the windbags.
Yes. And finally, Rule 4, you need an intimate, trusting support group.
Now, that 4th rule, the intimate support group, is the crucial bridge to the final and perhaps the most powerful concept in this entire architecture of achievement.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because as your planning gets more complex, the execution inevitably gets harder. You reach a ceiling of what one individual can physically and mentally accomplish.
Right, you just run out of bandwidth.
So the author proposes a brain trust. Now, to me, a brain trust sounds suspiciously like a fancy 1930s phrase for a group project.
Right, and we all know how those go.
Yeah, anyone who has been in a corporate environment knows that group projects usually mean one person does all the actual work while 5 other people sit around drinking coffee and watching.
Oh, absolutely true.
So how is this concept actually different from, say, a standard networking group or a typical team?
Well, a standard networking group is usually pretty transactional and disjointed. What the author calls a brain trust or a mastermind is a highly intentional union of like-minded people who share a singular, definitive goal, operating with a strict system of checks and balances.
Okay, so it's much more rigid.
Very. And the difference really lies in the synergistic effect. When you combine the distinct talents, the specialist knowledge, the varied experiences, and the resources of multiple aligned people, the result isn't just basic addition.
What is it then?
It is a massive force multiplier. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 in a mastermind. It equals 10.
Wow.
It creates a surplus of intellectual power that allows a small, unified group to achieve things no single genius could ever accomplish alone.
So it scaled your ambition to an industrial level.
Precisely.
And that basically brings us to the grand synthesis of this entire masterclass. If there is one overarching truth to take away from this material, it's that success is an engineered sequence.
Yes, it is entirely deliberate.
It doesn't just happen to you, it is constructed by you.
The architecture is completely clear. It starts with a burning desire to achieve a highly specific coordinate.
Right.
That desire is sustained by faith that you manually program into your own subconscious through auto-suggestion.
And daily readings.
Exactly. Then the plan is executed through synthetic imagination, clicking those existing Lego bricks together in new ways.
Right.
The journey is protected by sheer, unwavering persistence that filters out the doomsaying windbags. And ultimately, the entire enterprise is scaled through the synergistic power of a brain trust.
It's brilliant. But, the implementation mistake that ruins most people before they even begin is getting permanently stuck in the wishing phase.
Well, it happens all the time.
It's wanting to be successful, but refusing to define the exact timeline, the exact money, or the exact sacrifice required. It's writing the plan down once, feeling good about it, and letting it gather dust in a drawer instead of reading it daily to program that subconscious GPS.
Because knowledge, no matter how profound, is only potential power. It only becomes actual power when it is organized into a definite plan of action.
So here's your practical action for today, right now.
Yeah.
Take 5 minutes. Write out your highly specific goal.
And do not just write, I want to be comfortable.
No, write the exact number, the exact date, and exactly what you are giving in return. And start that morning and night reading habit. Begin programming the machine today.
And as you begin that process, ponder this final thought. We established that your subconscious mind is essentially a tape recorder, constantly storing every sensory stimulus, feeling, and thought 24/7 without filtering for quality. If that is a neurological fact, what unintended instructions are you accidentally giving your subconscious right now through the media you passively consume, or the daily cynical conversations you tolerate?
Are you feeding your mind the blueprints to build a skyscraper? Or are you just sketching more hazy castles in the sky?
It's time to build.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.